Hello everyone, I'm your hostess with the mostest, 8-Second Gaming, and we finally have these Season 14 patch notes. They look incredible. The season actually looks like it's off to a great start. I know it's not even here already, but the patch notes do look really good and it's getting me very excited. So we're going to be jumping in, we're going to be breaking everything down so that you will understand everything you need to know going into Season 14. Now guys, I know that we've all been playing, just messing around, having a good time, and then you happen to hit the sickest clip only to realize that you forgot to hit record. Well, with our new sponsor, Outplayed, that will never be an issue again. Outplayed is the ultimate video capturing app for games. While playing, the app automatically captures your best moments and biggest plays. But you can also record manually with some simple hotkeys. Outplayed also has a built-in video editor, so you can simply trim your clips right inside the app, and then you can easily share them straight to Discord, YouTube, or anywhere else you may want to send it. Click the link in the description, download it for yourself today, and stop missing those amazing moments. But okay, let's jump right into things now. And we're not going to be talking about Vantage because everybody already knows what she does. We've already covered the Kings Canyon changes, everybody knows what's coming. So we're going to be talking about the things that actually matter. And the first thing that I want to talk about is the rank changes that they are making. Now this was hinted at by Alpha Intel earlier that they said that some rank changes were coming. Now I did assume that these rank changes were going to be to the matchmaking and not actually to the system itself, but I was wrong. We are actually seeing some changes to the way that the system for ranked works. Now the first thing that they're changing for the rank system is they're upping the entry cost that it takes to get into a game. Now at the start of Season 13 they did change the entry cost system and they upped the way that everything worked, but it was a little bit overtuned, so they did take 10 points off across the board. But it seems like that was a little bit too much taken off, so now they're making it so it's +5 to all, to kind of make it a halfway in between type deal. Next, to kind of balance that out a little bit, they are removing the diminishing returns on all eliminations. As you guys know, the more and more kills you get in a ranked game, the less and less points you got, because they were trying to find a good balance between kills and placement. Now it did seem that kills were really not worth getting in the early game because of the way that the new system worked. So now Respawn is trying to take that away and make that option a more viable strategy for those ranked players. So now when you get 20 kills in a game, you get points for 20 kills. It doesn't go down any. And for the rank reset, they're not changing anything there. You are still being reset 6 divisions. But those are the only rank changes that we are seeing right now. So let's move into the weapons, because shooty shooty bang bang. First up, we're seeing the laser sight attachments. Now, these are for the SMGs and pistols. The ones that used to take barrels will no longer take barrel stabilizers. Now you are going to be able to slap a laser sight on there, and what the laser sight does is it reduces the hipfire spread. Because also in this Season 14 patch, they are upping the base hipfire spread for the SMGs and assault rifles. So those guns will be a little bit less viable in close range situations where you have to hipfire unless you have that laser sight on there. Now the care package rotation is also something I find interesting, because this is the first time in Apex history that we are seeing 2 weapons be rotated in the same season. We are seeing the G7 and the Volt come back onto floor loot, and the bow check bow and the rampage are going into the care package. Now next up, obviously the gold weapon rotation is changing a little bit. So for this season we're seeing the longbow DMR, the G7 Scout, the Mozambique, the R99, and the Hemlock are going to be the gold weapons. And because the first ranked map is Kings Canyon, if you land a caustic treatment, it's a very good chance that you will get one of those guns out of the little vat things. But now we gotta cover some buffs and nerfs to the weapons. First off, the EVA does take stocks. Second off, they removed 1 pellet from the little blast pattern, because if you guys didn't know, the EVA 8 actually shot in a figure 8 pattern, so I'm assuming that the one that they removed is probably somewhere in the middle. Now they've also increased the fire rate on the EVA from 2.0 to 2.3, and the damage per pellet has gone from 6 to 7. And the bolts are also going to be increasing the fire rate. The white is staying at 1.1, but the blue is going from 1.15 to 1.2, and the purple's going from 1.2 to 1.3. So with the damage increase and also this massive fire rate increase, we are probably going to see the EVA come back into meta and be an actual viable shotgun once again. Now next up for the bow check bow, because it is going into the care package, we are seeing some changes to it. First off, the damage at full draw has increased from 60 to 70. Also, the tempo draw speed has increased from 0.32 to 0.38. They've also increased the shatter cap pellet damage, and you also cannot pick up arrows that have been fired. So I was wrong. I was really hoping going into this that this would be the first care package weapon that can sustain ammo, but it's not going to work that way. Next up, the rampage. The damage has been increased from 26 to 28, and the rampage will come with a thermite grenade when you find it in the care package. Now the Volt is also receiving some nerfs because it is coming out of the care package. It's going from 70 17 damage to 15 damage. And the Scout, much like the Volt, is also receiving some nerfs. The damage is going from 36 to 34, the headshot multiplier is going from 2.0 to 1.75, and the double tap hop-up burst fire delay has been increased. But moving on from the care package weapons now, the other guns that are receiving some buffs are the L-Star. They have increased the projectile speed, they've also increased the number of shots before overheat from 20 to 24, and they removed the bright red flash when hitting non-armored targets. Now for the people that remember, a couple seasons ago the L-Star was everywhere, it was absolutely busted, but they did nerf it a little bit and it's fallen out of meta, so I'm not quite sure if this is enough to bring it back in. Next change is for the Wingman. The Wingman is now going to use sniper ammo and magazines, but not scopes. You will not put a 4-8 or a 6x onto a Wingman. It's still going to be the normal sights that you used to use. But they also have changed the way that the sniper ammo works now, because you can actually stack 28 instead of 24, and the sniper ammo boxes now contain 14 instead of 12. Honestly, I don't think that's a buff for the Wingman, I think that's just a buff for the charge rifle, because now you're getting more shots in a stack of ammo. That is absolutely ridiculous. The charge rifle was already ridiculously strong. But anyway, let's move on to the Spitfire. They have nerfed it a little bit because it's now having more recoil. They have adjusted the increased vertical barrel climb, so it's going to be harder to control, and it's not going to be just a gun that you can shoot until the next game. And they've also changed it so the Spitfire uses light ammo and light mags. But now for probably the most broken gun of the season, the 30-30 repeater. First off, the dual loader has been worked into the base 30-30. So now instead of taking forever to reload your gun, you're going to be using that dual shell, which you load 2 shells in at a time, and also we are getting the skull piercer for it. This is going to be the most ridiculously broken gun of the season. I'm calling it right now. You guys are going to be getting dominated by this in most of your ranked games if you don't have one. But now jumping into the Mastiff, the projectile growth has been reduced, and the base fire rate has been reduced from 1.2 to 1.1, and they have removed the dual loader. So the Mastiff isn't going to be as kind of dominant as the care package weapon, because it was kind of a little bit broken. But now with these changes, it's still going to be strong, but I don't think it's going to be as strong. You're still going to want to pick it up, but it's going to be kind of like the Kraber, where it's not, hey, he has a Mastiff, I'm dead. It's, hey, he has a Mastiff, but I'm still going to be able to beat him. And the Sentinel has a very simple change. It just has Deadeye's tempo worked into the base Sentinel now. Now the hop-ups are really quick and simple. First off, we're seeing the double tap return to floor loot. This adds burst fire mode to the EVA 8 and the G7 Scout. Next up, the Skull Piercer adds 35% headshot damage increase on the Longbow Wingman and 30-30 repeater. They've removed Deadeye's tempo and shadow caps from floor loot, and they've changed the boosted loader from legendary quality to epic quality. So it's no longer the gold, it is now a purple. Now, next up, something that sparked a lot of controversy across a lot of different people are the gold item changes. The gold knockdown shield is losing the self-revive. It's no longer in the game. Now what it's getting is what's called Guardian Angel. That was the perk that was on the gold backpack, and the gold backpack is now getting what's called Deep Pockets. Deep Pockets means that large medical supplies stack higher in your inventory. Batteries and medkits now stack to 3, and Phoenix kits now stack to 2. Now one thing that they did kind of slide into the patch notes that I almost missed the first time is actually changes to arc stars. They've reduced the stick damage on armor to 10 from 40. They've also removed the sensitivity slowing effect that happens when you get stuck, but it still happens on detonation. And the detonation damage has actually been increased. It was 70, but it's now 75. So you no longer get as much damage from getting a stick, but the detonation is still pretty good. But now let's talk about the legend changes. There's a lot of them, so I'm going to try and go a little bit quickly. The more intense ones, we will be doing other videos breaking those down, so stay tuned for those if you haven't seen them yet. First off, for Valkyrie, her VTOL jets, the acceleration on activation has been decreased by about 8%. The fuel consumption on activation has increased by 33%, and aerial boosting and strafing takes about a 20% debuff when hitting slow effects. And they've also added a third stage to the fuel meter, so it's no longer green and then red, it's green, orange, and then red to let you know that you're running low on fuel. Also, her missile swarm has been changed a little bit. The aim/turn slow speed has been removed, the slow duration has been decreased from 2.5 seconds to 2 seconds, and they're reducing the explosion radius from 175 to 125. So you're actually probably going to have to hit somebody with the rocket to get the damage out on them. And thankfully, her ultimate is getting a nerf. They reduced the height that you get from it by about 25%, and the launch time has been reduced from 5.5 seconds to 5 seconds. But coupled with the height reduction, they do say that players in Valkyrie will now travel upward at a slightly slower speed, so you're going to be be able to shoot people out of the Valkyrie ultimate probably a lot easier because you can't spin anymore and you're going to be slower, so you're actually going to have to time out your Valk ults and not use them in just a dire situation. But next up, the next legend that's been kind of running around in the meta right now is Horizon. First off, her black hole. They adjusted Newt a little bit to make his hitbox more reliable when trying to shoot it, and they've also made it so he takes 50% more damage from explosives, so you can just nade it out when you first get hit by it. Those are the only changes to Horizon, so let's move into Watson because she's also really quick because she just got improvements to perimeter security placement system. It basically just means that you're going to have an easier time placing your fences. Now, the new legend that just came out in Season 13, Newcastle, was really cool on release, but then he fell off in the meta super hard and actually had one of the lowest pick rates in the game, so they are giving him some buffs. First off, his passive Retrieve the Wounded. They have increased the move speed during revive by 25%, and they've also reduced the turn slow while reviving by 50%. They've also increased the health of the knockdown shields that you get while reviving. The white one now has 200 health and the blue one gets 300. But that's not all, the mobile shield is also getting a buff. They increased the HP from 350 to 500 and they doubled the max movement speed, so now you're going to actually be able to siege buildings because it's not just going to be a paper thin wall that people can just spray through and then still have enough in their magazine to finish you off as well. And his ultimate also did receive some changes as well. They added a turn slow effect to the electrical barrier and increased the severity of the slow effect to your movement. So now if you get caught out by that castle wall, you try to jump over it, you get zapped, it's pretty much you being dead. But one character that I'm really excited to see getting a buff is Mad Maggie. I love Mad Maggie, I played her a lot when she first came out and I still enjoy playing her. So I'm really excited for these buffs. First off, her Riot Drill, they increased the projectile launch speed, they have doubled it. And now for the ultimate, it will travel twice as far while dropping the same amount of magnets. And the little speed boost spawn delay has increased from 0.4 seconds to 0.8 seconds. But also, Wrecking Ball will now damage enemy placeable objects such as Black Market, Castle Walls, Death Totem, Mobile Shield, Black Hole, Amped Cover, and Gas Barrels. It will also destroy Gibraltar's Dome of Protection. This is absolutely insane. The Gibby meta might finally be over. And on top of that, they fixed the Wrecking Ball not blinding and slowing enemies, so Mad Maggie might actually be one of the most broken characters coming into the meta. She's already fast, she's already aggressive, and now she has extra tools in her kit to absolutely stomp certain characters. Now, these next three are more quality of life changes. First off, Rampart, it now ignores ally-friendly collision on amped cover placement, so it'll be a little bit more smoother. For Caustic, they fixed the gas ramping bug where transitioning from friendly to enemy gas would initially damage for more than intended, and Revenant, you will now get a placement preview before your ult actually places down on the ground. And lastly, for Mirage, the Mirage decoys will now be scanned by Valkyrie when skydiving. Also, the decoys will now be picked up by Seer's ultimate, and they also fixed the bug where Mirage decoys were found as AI and not players by Seer's ult. Now, the last big change is something that's been adding to all Battle Royale maps, and that's changes to the ring. First off, the Ring 1 damage has been increased from 2 HP to 3 HP per tick, and the Ring 1 pre-shriek time has decreased from 180 seconds to 60 seconds, so games are going to be more faster paced and you're not going to have as much time to loot before you have to get moving. Especially if you drop on edge of map, you're not going to have as much time to fight off drop, you're going to have to get moving, and with the damage increase, you're not going to be able to just sit in zone the entire time. It's going to be a little bit more stressful. But they've also changed the Ring 1 closing time for each map. Kings Canyon has gone from 4 minutes and 10 seconds to 4 minutes and 32 seconds. World's Edge is 3 minutes and 42 seconds to 4 minutes and 32 seconds. Storm Point is 4 minutes and 15 seconds to 4 minutes and 35 seconds. And Olympus is 4 minutes 10 seconds to 4 minutes 32 seconds. There's a lot of insane changes that are coming out. I'm super excited for this. I think this will be one of the craziest seasons with meta changes that we've actually seen in a long time, potentially even ever. I cannot wait to get my hands on this season and play it. I hope you guys are just as excited as I am. Let me know in the comments down below if you guys are ready to absolutely grind the season out. But with all this being said, guys, I really hope you enjoyed this video and learned something new. If you did and you want to stay up to date with the latest and greatest Apex Legends tips, tricks, and news, don't forget to smash that like and subscribe button. Thank you all for watching. Once again, I'm 8 Second Gaming, and I will see you in the next one.